know quite what all we were doing today.
Yes. Well, we're just gonna visit. And it'll be great. I'm excited. And I can obviously we'll edit and stuff. So not a big deal. So I'm so excited to be here with you, Joyce. And for those of you who do not know in recording land or in this webinar that we're using this for, I am with Joyce Turkington, and she is the actual human. I love that word. The actual human who wrote the G.E.M book that we use all the time, Generational Emotional Mapping. And I just really wanted to interview you and just ask you some like core questions, like get to the meat of a few things of what the people, what my clients have experienced in this G.E.M protocol have been amazing, right? But when I asked them, I was like, these are really good questions. I was like, do you have a top question you would like to know? Like, and they came up with some really, really great questions. And personally, I would like to know too, Joyce. I have met some of you have not heard the story. So I met Joyce, it's been over 4 years ago since you did that conference in Lincoln. And our friend Iris Doolittle had met you in convention, right? doTERRA convention.
Yes.
Did you guys stay in a house together, like an Airbnb?
We roomed together in an Airbnb. There were a group of women that got together and shared a home.
Yeah. And she was just like, she fell in love with you. There was a huge connection, and you were like bringing G.E.M, right? Bringing G.E.M to Salt Lake City. And
well, in
talking about
fact,
it
that
in
was, yeah, in that house, I did do, that was one of my first training for people out of Alaska that I did some training in at, and Iris was one that was in that group.
And she got some valuable tools and valuable just clearing goodness that weekend, or that week that that you guys were at convention. So 4 years ago, you came all the way from beautiful Alaska to Lincoln, Nebraska. I am sure that was a culture shock and a half for coming to the Great Plains and just being in the heart of Lincoln there. And it was a conference, and I was a single mom and trying to do entrepreneurship, network marketing. I was like, I do not have the money, time. I don't know what this is. I know nothing about this. And I almost didn't go. And Iris was just like, Shannon, the entire time I've known you, you've said pain and emotions are connected. And Joyce is saying pain and emotions are connected. I just really feel like you have to come to this conference. I really feel like it will just like, I don't even know, like give you validity, right? Like really just empower, just really be like, yes, I know what I'm talking about. I don't even know how else to describe that, but I just feel like you need to go. And I was like, oh, Iris, I was like, this is gonna, it's great. I'm so excited for you. I cannot believe that Joyce is coming to Nebraska. Like, this is an awesome opportunity. And I really think it wasn't until like maybe the night before or 2 days before, I think I finally signed up, because I was like, it just kept coming into my newsfeed, and she kept messaging me. And I actually looked back at my phone, and I had screenshot because you had she was sharing it, and maybe you had ads coming up, but they kept coming up on my newsfeed on my Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And there was like 5 different screenshots on different days that I had saved your post. And so like, obviously there was a reason I needed to go. It kept coming in front of me, but I remember like, I even spelled my email address wrong. So I never even got confirmation, and I went to Lincoln, right? I went to Lincoln, I didn't even know. It was all a journey. It was an adventure.
Mm-hmm. It was an adventure.
It was an adventure, right? 2-day conference, a deep dive into what G.E.M is. And by the end of it, I was like, I have to do this. Like, I was so empowered. I was so lit up. And it really is a huge difference when you can take somebody's pain away like that, right? It was instant for me. When we cleared that issue that was going on with my shoulder pain, and the shoulder pain was gone instantly. Well, after I cried. Let's just be honest. That was like, woo! That was like
ugly cry.
An ugly cry. It wasn't pretty, people. It was not pretty, but it was like huge and uncontrollable and amazing all at the same time. I know, and I told Iris, I just visited her. We have coffee time, and I just visited her. I was like, I was so grateful that Tim was there. So at that time, we weren't even engaged, right? And he came, and I was so grateful because I was like, I don't even know. I was like a wounded warrior. I was like, I needed like support after that because it was like a lot, right? But powerful and amazing. And the next day, like everything just recalibrated, and I was just like on fire. And so now I was just like, I need to do this. I need to teach it. I want to do GEM for the women of the world. And here we are today, 4 years later. And it's been an amazing journey. So I am so thankful. I'm so thankful that you're here. And I have 5 important questions to ask you. So I'm going to read them from my paper. And this is recorded. So we're just going to riff and kind of talk. And I'm going to let you kind of just, this is live, guys. I mean, it's recorded, but we have not discussed these questions. Joyce has no idea what I'm going to bring her. And this is the
Bring it
best.
on.
This is the best thing. Okay. So question number 1 kind of has an A and a B. So what inspired you to write the book originally? We're talking about the GEM book, right? Or what, and maybe B, and then maybe they're the same thing, or what struck the interest to create this book, this powerful tool that's in the book, or the book itself?
Well, it goes way back. I started doing homeopathy back in the early 80s and used homeopathy on my children. And the first year that I really got into homeopathy and using it on my children, I think I figured that first year I saved over $5,000 in medical bills by using the homeopathy. And then years later, I went in 95, I went to school to become a certified nutritionist and holistic, and hunted and found a school that was a distance school that was accredited that I could go to. So I spent 2 years. I had never gone to college. This was in 95, and we had five or six units that were 15 credit hours a piece. And when I learned how much really 15 hours of credit took, I was like amazed. But anyway, it was 2 years. I went with 2 other gals. We worked together, and we had a lady that would proctor our tests, and I graduated. But at that time, and I'm going to turn my deal here and let you kind of see this computer system. Can you see that, Shannon?
Yes, I can. Well,
Okay.
it's a
And
little
then,
bit light, but yeah, the computer screen itself is a little bit light, but
yeah. And then I have this machine over here. Can you see that?
yes, I can.
Okay. So that is, if any of you have ever had a Itobi scan or a Zyto scan, this is similar, but it's light years ahead of that.
Yeah, so like
And
this is like my Itobi scan.
yes, and
Little.
that will scan you for oils and supplements.
Mhm.
This will scan you for over 40,000 different things, and it will give you a reading on all of your organ systems and what they know that healthy tissue resonates between 46 and 58 megahertz. And so for simplicity, 45 to 55 is balanced. And if it's above that, it's stressed. If it's below that, it's low energy. So I used to, in my mind, I would go, man, if we could just have something like this that people could have in their homes to help them to stay healthy. And so that was always in the back of my mind. And so I started putting together work based on this system of lists of vitamins and bacterias and hormones and all of that kind of stuff. And so I started putting together a book of what I called things that use us, because I started to understand how important the emotions were. I can scan for Bach flower remedies on this system. And I had a young gal that had a whole bunch of issues. And for some reason, I just put the Bach flower filter on and I ran the Bach flowers, and she chose about 7 of the Bach flowers. And I made her a remedy and gave it to her, and it just made all the difference in the world for her. And so I was kind of puzzling over that, and that it had balanced her with just the emotional stuff. Well, then I went to a conference, and Dr. Diamond was there, and he is an MD doctor, but also was on the board of homeopathy. And he talked about, just a second, hopefully you can.
I hope you come back. I can still hear you, but
Okay, you can still hear me.
Yep.
Somebody
there you go.
trying to call in and it interrupted. I'm sorry.
No worries.
He talked about how he would work with people to detox them from oh, are you there?
Okay. Yep.
Just if you'll indulge me for just a second, I need to let this.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I had been wanting to have something that people could have in their homes.
Mhm.
And so I started putting together lists of things that would help people, and started processing a lot like you have experienced G.E.M with you, Shannon, your people who have experienced G.E.M. But and started bringing together. Oh, I was telling you about Dr. Diamond, and he would talk about where he would detox somebody from, do an elimination diet for an allergy.
Yeah. Okay.
And he said he would find that he could eliminate it, take the, say, corn away, and then slowly reintroduce, and they would, have amelioration from that. But he said that would hold maybe 6 months, maybe a year, and bang, all of a sudden it would be back again. And what he realized is that he was not getting at the emotion that there was an emotion that was creating that response, not the corn itself. The corn was what the memory was imprinted on. He said, say you sat at the table and you have corn at night for dinner, that's your vegetable for the night, and there's always arguing and fighting at the table. That corn has picked up, it's one of the triggers that can trigger this emotion, and you don't see it as an emotion, you see it as an allergy. But if you can get to the root of what that emotion is, then you can start to ameliorate that allergy to that corn. You still may have to do the elimination diet to get the physical body balanced, but you're not going to have the emotion still running in the background that can be recreated. And so I have a second book that I've never published that I use all the time, that I originally just called it G.E.M Therapy. But I started gathering things of when did it start? So there's those 5 things that you may have noticed as you have done the G.E.M work, that where did it come from? Where is it originating from? And that took forever to sort that out, because you have people who are atheists, you have people who are Christians, you have people who believe, Buddhist, that believe in reincarnation. And I don't necessarily believe in that, but there is kind of a reincarnation. And I feel like, from what I have observed, that the reincarnation is the reincarnation of the emotion over and over. That the emotion that we're feeling right now, or the thing that we feel, when I've had people that say, well, I have a past life, the past life is the emotion. And it really did happen. And we have a memory of it, but it wasn't our memory. It was the memory of the person that it happened with, and it hasn't been resolved. And it's just been carried down through the generations. But I also didn't want to disrespect those that believed in reincarnation. And so by having a phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, you can take that and use it, whatever your philosophical or religious beliefs are within that realm. Did it happen before we come here? And, we know that phase 2, as you see, phase 1 is spiritual childhood. Phase 2 is spiritual adult. You can fill in the blanks, depending on what your philosophy or religious beliefs are.
Correct.
And then we all know that this physical body has a mind of its own.
Isn't that the truth?
that was a real revelation to me when I discovered that, my liver has an intelligence, my lungs have an intelligence, and I believe by a divine creator was given a roadmap of how to function. And so it follows that. But I also feel that intelligence, even though it's a lower intelligence than us, it still can have a misperception of its job or its duty, or it can be affected by an emotion that we felt. And so then it takes it on.
So would you say, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So would you say that the inspiration was really like you just curious, and then almost like you putting the pieces together? And I always say you create a blueprint, like you create a map into your blueprint, but you really were creating that map to figure out how to help the people you were serving, right? And you just put all these things together. That was the inspiration. Is the inspiration and the reason why you wanted to create this is really your core wanting to help people.
Yes.
Did it have anything to, yeah, go ahead.
My core is, and I feel like my purpose and mission is to do that, to help to heal people on the emotional and the physical realm. And I know that if an emotion is left long enough, it will manifest on the physical.
Absolutely. And then just to reiterate what you said at the beginning when we were just kind of chatting, was the significant savings in medical costs that you doing things prophylactically or homeopathically, right? You saved a lot of money, right?
A lot of money.
A lot of money, right? And so, and what's the side effect? Goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And peace of mind. Of mind. The other thing is that I wanted to be able to empower people, not to, my goal is not to get rid of the doctor or get rid of the therapist or whatever, but I don't ever want anyone to feel like they don't have a choice. And I even, with all the years that I've done this, there will be times that I will have something going on and I can't quite get to the bottom of it. So I will go to the doctor. And my physician knows me really well, and he'll go, so what do you want me to do?
So what exactly is the protocol that you're going to let me do?
Yeah. And
besides what you have in your house,
I said,
right?
well, I'm here just to get your opinion of what you see that's going on, because invariably it will give me an insight. I went and had some body work one time when I was having some issues, and she right away said, I can see that you've got some congestion in your kidneys and in your liver. And I would kind of be looking at hormones. Well, I wasn't looking at hormones at all. And so I went home from there and did processing on hormones and got relief from what was going on. So we need to have a second opinion. And that's why we can have that first aid and we can have an idea of clearing, but we do need to have help at times. We can't figure it out ourselves.
Yeah, if we can't, there's other options, right? And I really feel like all of it can be useful. I mean, I feel like and at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, you might need something, right? We're not gonna always have access,
Oh,
right?
I've
So we can
gone and
start the
taken my
process.
Tylenol before, and I've
Mhm,
gone and, looked for things that,
mhm,
um, but it's helping, and particularly when I teach people about the muscle testing and
mhm.
encouraging them to perfect that. It's because you're taking the time to check in with your physical body and the intelligence of your physical body and your higher spiritual self to see what is the best for you. Because I teach my clients all the time, and I see this a lot, that people come into me and um, they're running around getting all kinds of therapies and spending all kinds of money.
Mhm.
And I'm not afraid to put all of those therapies in a bowl on a piece of paper and have them pull out, this is the therapy I need first.
Yep. Oh, for sure. That's a
And
great idea.
if it's not me, I don't care, because I'm
Mhm,
trying to help them
mhm.
to see what is the best thing for them to do, because I know eventually they're going to need the help that I need. But I want them, because what will happen, just like the gem therapy where you go to the root,
Mhm.
if you will ask the body what it needs first, it a lot of times can take care of all of those, or the majority of those things that you're trying to doctor for, that are costing you time and money. That if
Time
you would
and
do,
money.
yes, if you would do the first thing that the body needs to heal,
Mhm.
it would save you a lot of time and money.
For sure. For sure.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, goodness. So many golden nuggets already. And we just did question one. This is why we only have 5 questions. This is why we only have 5 questions. All right, number two. Is there anything critical? And I know that you have perfected and you've done other things, and you use essential oils. You have a lot of different tools in your toolbox, right? But is there anything critical that has come up since you wrote this book originally? I know we add the oils and the affirmations, and you were an amazing at creation of those affirmations. But besides that, is there anything critical that has come up since you wrote the book that you would add if you were to rewrite it?
Well, I think the main thing that I would do is simplify the process, which
Okay.
I never really was happy in the book of explaining how to process.
Okay.
And so by creating the new form that I have, it just makes it easier
Mhm.
for that processing, whether a therapist is helping you or whether you're just trying to figure out something on your own. And so if I were to rewrite, um, I would go over that.
Would simplify that process. Awesome.
Hmm.
And I know that for the other people that don't know, you are going to create an ebook, right?
Yeah.
In the next
Yes.
year, next year.
Hmm.
Yep, 2022. That's going to be great. And it'll be easier and more fluid when we get new oils, right?
Yes.
At
Yes.
convention time, that'll make it easier. And that'll be great. Okay, awesome. Question 3. What is the core takeaway that you want people to know, um, that you want to share with everybody through this book? What is the core thing that you want people to get besides like using the protocol? But you know,
Well, the thing that I really hope that people take away from the book is that there is an emotion behind every physical symptom. And because of how we have been programmed to run to the doctor for everything, that, oh, well, I have a sore throat because I was exposed to so and so that has strep throat. So now I have strep
Mhm,
throat.
mhm.
No, no. There's something that has been triggered that, I have a daughter who was my greatest teacher. And we have these really strict laws in Alaska about,
I really love how you positively described that. I just wanted to put that in there. That is amazing. Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. So we have a very strict minor in consumption. And, when you're 16 years old, you're doing things that you really shouldn't do. And she had been with some girlfriends, was supposed to be sleeping over, and they had been imbibing. But one of the girls had to catch a plane the next morning. She had been up here visiting. And so they were driving her to the airport and they got pulled over. And of course, it was quite obvious what was going on. And so one of the little gals was very mouthy, very obnoxious. And so they all got tickets for, minors in consumption, which meant they were going to lose their driver's license for, 90 days and had to go to a $400 class and, all this kind of stuff.
All the things, right?
And she came down with a horrible, horrible sore throat. And this was before I had gone back to school. I was in homeopathy big time. And one of the rubrics, you look at the emotional, and then what are some of the guiding symptoms? There's like a 3-legged stool that you look at.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she just can't swallow. She's very, very sick. So I take her to the homeopath. And the first thing that she asked her, she goes, "Have you been angry lately and not spoken up about it?" And Treva immediately says, "Yes, the cops stopped us and Wendy would not shut up. And I wanted to just yell at her, 'Shut your mouth.'" And she said, and she just made it worse. We might not have got a ticket if she'd have just kept her mouth shut. And so she swallowed it. She swallowed all that anger. And guess what? She had a huge sore throat with big pus pockets on it. She didn't have strep, but she was a mess, and the homeopath gave her some remedies. But the big guiding factor was, what was the emotion behind that? So my big takeaway is to have people stop when they have a symptom, to just stop and, what's going on here? What's really going on here? My battery goes dead in my car 2 or 3 times. I'm going to stop and I'm going to go, whose battery is going dead?
Yeah, exactly.
What's there? There's something going on here that needs to be paid attention to, and it's not on the physical realm.
Correct.
So I just want people to open up to, there's more going on than what meets the eye.
Almost always.
And the body, I like to say that the body is our early warning system. That when we have an ache or a pain or whatever, our body is telling us something is not in sync here. What our core belief is and what old program is running in the background don't match up.
And normally it's like a tap, right? There's going to be a tap. We tend to ignore it. And then pretty soon it's like a huge shove and we're like, oh my goodness, like something is horrible. I'm in bed for 3 days. But if you think about it, it didn't start that one day. There was little taps, right? There was little pains, there was little taps, there was something going on, something stirring up. And then we didn't listen.
Yeah.
And now we have this huge other issue. That was goodness. That was goodness. I seriously, I'm gonna have to use that. My biggest teacher. I'm gonna have to use that. I have 4 teenage girls. Seriously, I'm gonna have to use that. That is the best statement. Okay. I love that.
She was the one that gave us a run for our money, but I learned a lot from her and I grew a lot from her.
Isn't that true? Like I just looking back and and my youngest one is 18 now and she's a senior and I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. I've done boom, boom, boom 3 years in a row and I don't know, not quite ready, but it'll be interesting. But yes, I have learned a lot. I have gained some patience that I never even thought was possible. I have learned a lot. Okay. So this one is a little different. We can actually do a little play a little bit if you want to go a little deeper with the statements. It kind of comes a little bit of number 3, but what is in the very, very raw root? We use the root a lot, right? In the very raw root beginning of all things, why G.E.M? Like, why is this what came to fruition? Why do you think we need G.E.M? What, like, just the very core raw?
Well, I kept seeing, even with the homeopathy, because I have used, like I said, homeopathy since the early 80s. I was introduced and used it on all of my children. I worked for the homeopathic physician here in town. And I kept seeing a revolving door with things, either the illness or something. Using the homeopathic would keep it away longer, but you could still see it circle back. And so, you would hear the things like, every fall I get, every spring I get allergies, or every winter I get a sinus infection, and, all of these kinds of things. And then I would see people go to talk therapy, and they would talk out their issues, and we'll take anger for an example, and they would, go to therapy and be calmer and being able to deal with things. And then all of a sudden something would happen, and it was like, boom, they were right back where they started. And it was like, what is going on here? And then even when I started doing some of the clearings, because I would spend hours, literally hours, looking for stuff, using that muscle testing, this is my issue. No, this is my mother's issue. No, this is my dad's issue. Yes. Okay. This is, and so what's the word, and all of that kind of stuff. And in that process, I would do pages and pages and pages of issues and words. And I remember one time I was looking, and that's another thing. You look, this is my issue. No, what is this issue? Well, it just came to my head. I had a God issue, and I got a really strong yes that I had a God issue. So I started looking through my books for the emotions and all of that. Literally, it was every single thing I could find that was the problem. And I can remember standing there and going, okay, God,
Right.
I don't have time for all of this. And if I'm doing this to help other people, they don't have time, and they don't have enough money to pay me to do this. So what am I going to do about this? And so at that point, it was like, it came into my mind. I said, I can say all statements, or I can say all emotions, or I can say all people. And I got, yes, you can do that. So I would identify a couple of emotions, and then I would say all other emotions. Yes, you could do that. But in this whole process of doing this over 2 or 3 years of going down into my bathroom and locking the door and processing.
I hope you have more than one bathroom, because this had to have taken a minute.
Yes, no.
Okay.
It's just my husband and I in the home when I started doing all of this craziness, and there's a bathroom downstairs and one upstairs, and I would always go downstairs.
Perfect.
Because if you're in the bathroom, nobody's going to bother you if you're in the bathroom.
Unless you have kids in the house, which that's
Yes.
great. You're just you and your
Yes.
husband. Because
Yes.
before that, no bathroom time is sacred. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So through all of this process, I started seeing that, which also brought me to the generational thing, because I would see that, okay, this issue was connected to my dad. It was always connected to my dad. So then I had this thought, oh, what if I work on my dad first? What would that do to me? And so I had this list of all of the organ systems, and I would calibrate at what percent they were functioning. Were they functioning at 100%? No. Okay. Some would be 50, some would be 80, some of them would be in the dumpster, they'd be a minus 20 or something. And so I would process that for my dad. And then I would go back and I would calibrate, did my energy change because of that? And my energy would change. And so as I did that, it was like, okay, I need to go to the root of that. I need to broaden, I need to open my mind that I don't want to put a limit on where this started. And I don't want to put a limit on what I can be open to. And so that's when it started going, oh, it went past mom and dad. It went, and then when that went bigger, when it, is it a universal problem? Is it a tribal problem? Is it a family problem? An individual problem? Is it all females? Is it all males? And I just use that gift of my body being connected to the universe and to divine, and being able to help me to navigate through that. I have wonderful friends who are more intuitive and they feel it or see it or whatever. I'm a physical, tactile, verbal person. And so my body was a real gift for me in doing that, but just not putting an absolute on something of where I think it started or how it started, because we do this. If we do that, we're only going to see what's within that circle. Anything outside of that circle doesn't exist. It's still there, but we're not acknowledging it. And so we can't pull it into us.
So really have to be open-minded.
Yes.
Yeah. And the more you just became more open-minded on really how far or how wide the story goes.
And what I found is that the more I could open up and let it be where it started from or who it started from or whatever, I started seeing more healing and more peace. And I stopped seeing this repeat. Now, just so that you or your clients don't get discouraged, sometimes there is a body system that is our warning system. Like it may be our gut, or it may be the stress in the shoulders, or it may be the migraine headache or something. And so when you'll see that those kinds of things will become further and further apart. But all it is that organ system or that malady is your wake-up call. Because whenever you process it, it's never going to be the same. It's going to be something different. It's another layer that you're clearing. And so it's not like, oh, this isn't working, or, oh, that's come back again. It's like, oh, hello, friend. What is it that you want to tell me today?
Exactly. And I have told people that, like, when I did my first G.E.M, it felt like I had a 50-pound bag of dog food on my shoulders at all times. I carried that weight since I could remember, before junior high. And I was 4 years ago, I was late 30s. So let's just be honest, it was a minute, right? I was carrying that for a minute. And that day that pain left, right? That day it was gone. And I was like, holy cow, I felt lighter. I seriously felt like I lost 50 pounds of solid crap, right? And I did. I lost those bags that I was carrying for that entire time regarding my generational trauma, that issue, right? But that pain, that discomfort taps me on the shoulders. If something is going on, if my emotions are turmoil, if I am doing G.E.M and I'm feeling resonance or I'm feeling them, the first place I feel it is my shoulders. It taps me on the shoulders and I take care of it. I don't shove it. I don't stuff it. I deal with it right away with my natural wellness options and my doTERRA essential oils, right? I'll drink citrus water. I'll put console on my shoulders. I'll put forgive on my heart, and that discomfort goes away, right? Because something inside is stirring up and it taps you, right? And it creates that physical pain or that physical something. I just call everything that happens in our physical body is a physical pain based upon some sort of emotional trigger, right? That trigger taps our bodies. So it's not one and done. That's what I always say. It's like going to the gym.
No.
You're not going to go to the gym one time and be like, dang, these six pack abs, right? You're going to go to the gym to work on those six pack abs often. And it's not like you don't have to do it repetitively all over the time, the same thing, right? We're just going to work on stuff. And it's just, you have to continue to think about that. When that pain comes up, you don't shove it. You figure out where it's coming from, what's triggering that. And then you use natural wellness options to do it, or different things you do, meditation, whatever it is that you're going to do. And then if you can't take care of it yourself, then you work on it with yourself, with myself, with your physician, with your therapist, whoever is the next tool, right? Up in that line. That was really great. So basically, why I just want to get a little deeper in this question.
Mm-hmm.
This question is kind of like, it can go a little bit deeper. So you said the reason that you created this G.E.M or this protocol, and you've updated it and you've simplified it in the processing sheet. And I was just like, why G.E.M? And you did touch on that. You're like, I wanted to provide a healing option. So why is that so important to you?
Well, I just always have been a person that wants to help somebody. But I also, through this whole process, have realized that I can't help everyone. And that, no, I want to rephrase that. I can help everyone, but I need to figure out how I'm being called to help that person. My old self would step in and try to take over and alleviate your pain. Myself, I go, oh, I need to help this person. Do I need to help them physically? No. I need to help them mentally? No. I need to help them spiritually? Okay. I need to give them a passage? No. I need to say a prayer for them? Yes. Okay, I can do that. And then I go on about my business. Sometimes it's not mine to do. And so I just go, thank you, Lord, for divine intervention, and bless them and go on my way. But I haven't just ignored it. And I feel like that's our higher self that's trying to get us in tune with what's really going on. And if I just take those few little seconds to real quickly just check in, what is this all about? Then I can either act appropriately or bless it and move on and not spend, because how long do we spend trying to figure out what it is that we're supposed to do when really we're not supposed to do anything anyway,
Yeah, not our response. It's not our shit.
Yeah, not our responsibility.
Not our responsibility, right?
So
Yes.
I also have found that once I started using that process of trying to go to the root, so that was part of my thing too that you asked, is I started learning that if I set my intention that I wanted to find the origin of it and the root of it, because if I could correct it at that, I could bring it forward to me. And in the process of doing that, I found that all of these things were fixed also. And maybe out of the 10 things I had on my list, I now only had 2 things on my list. So
and then the power of that is what happens I know what happens, but with that impact.
Well, the power of it is that you are clear in your thinking, you're clear in your feelings, you really don't have to process as much, because you're not picking away at every little thing. Because if you go to the root, all of this out here had its origin with this. And so as you clear this, it goes out into all those little spider webs. And there's a couple of them that will have a layer that's a little bit different. Maybe it, it started out being a tribal issue, and then all of a sudden it shifts into a family issue. And so there's another little spin on it that, this cleared this up maybe 20%, but there's still more that, so it just helps. And so when you clear that up, this little one over here that isn't completely cleared up yet isn't going to be an issue right now. So you can go on and enjoy life and enjoy your peace of mind, and your body will let you know when this now is an issue and we need to work on it, if you're staying in tune with, what's going on here.
And then when you do this, the first thing you said is you wanted to help. You changed it, but you wanted to help everybody. But then you kind of like decided to choose, like kind of test and see what was your responsibility to help and how was your responsibility to help. But doing this protocol, the reason that I was the one of the reasons that I am all in is the profound ripple effect. So can you elaborate on what is that ripple effect? Like how does that work?
Well, because it's generational, you are literally changing the vibration of the generational matrix when you eliminate an issue. It's almost like there's a book, Biogenealogy, The Psychic Roots of Illness, by Peter. I can't ever remember the author's name, but I think you can find it on Google or on
Absolutely.
Amazon or whatever. But he talked about that there's this solvent album that we pass from generation to generation, begging to be fixed. And so my background in homeopathy and the things that I've experienced is that if you know homeopathics, you start out with an actual substance and you take 1 part substance with 90 parts liquid, alcohol or whatever, you put them together like arsenic, you shake it, succuss it, let it set for 3 weeks, then you take 1 part of that and dilute it again with 90 parts until the 10th time that you have diluted it, there's no chemical of the arsenic there, but the frequency is still there. And every time it's diluted, it becomes stronger. Okay. And so for me, every time this emotion or this misperception is passed on to another generation without being fixed, not only are you passing it on, but you're adding your layers to it. So it's like, here we are now. And so it's no wonder that we see so much chaos around us and so much disharmony around us, because there's nothing new. It's just magnified and personified. And so when you can go in and fix that, it will, and I go into details because I would clear something and then my mind would go, how many souls were just affected by that? It can be hundreds of thousands of people that has shifted the energy for them. And it's probably not going to be as profound as what it was for you, but it is definitely switching. And I share in the book of doing some work on myself with sugar issues. And it came down to the root of that sugar issue was I wasn't safe. And it was a generational thing. And every time that got triggered, because it didn't begin with me, I wasn't necessarily feeling afraid, but it was getting triggered. So my solution to that, and the generational solution was to self-medicate with alcohol. I didn't medicate with alcohol, but I medicated with sugar. So I cleared that for myself. And I had two of my children that had a profound shift because of that energy work that I did for myself in how they dealt with their different addictions. It was profound.
And the way we all have our vices, right? We all have what we go to when life hits us. Life
Mhm.
is a dance, and things happen. Life is always going to hit us sideways. And it is what we go to help us when we're like, all of a sudden we're like, I'm not safe. Run, stop,
Mhm.
freeze, hold still, fight or flight, whatever it is. Your cortisol level lifts and you're like, oh crap, right? And that is amazing and profound. And so that ripple effect has absolutely in the book and in your clients and in my clients, the ripple effect has been profound with it. Really positively, like you said, releases that emotion, that negative emotion holding us back. And it's like a rumor, right? I call it the rumor mill. Like you tell, like in kindergarten class, you tell Susie one thing, tells Johnny next to her and 25 kids down or 25 generations, this story, this emotion, this situation is blown up out of proportion, which is why we feel the way we do, why it's so strong here. Like you said, it just really evolves and it creates this more of a fester, more of a chaos, more of emotional upheaval with us, because it might be 150 generations of stuff. It might be 10 generations, but just in the last 10 generations, what's happened, right? And then you have what's going on in our own world and what the layers like that just really resonates, like the layers of this stuff, right? Everybody's life, there's different layers, there's different things they've had to deal with, there's different family matters or worldly matters that everybody deals with, and it just piles on. And then the reason that I really wanted to be in this is my journey was really emotions, and emotions created a significant amount of pain in my body, my personal body. I was in under a lot of stress and I had a ton of pain. And the more work I realized that I did, I saw a huge change in my children. And what is the biggest thing that being a mom, what is your out loud like goal is I want my kids to have a better life than I did. I don't want my kids to suffer from this. This runs in my family. I don't want my kids to deal with this. My journey is of but reason I was like, Joyce, I have to do this. Like, I have to help women know that they're enough. I have to help women get rid of this pain, this codependency, this emotion that has them staying and not up leveling and living in their power because of domestic violence or abuse or trauma, right? I just felt this shift that day. And that shift has in the last 4 years really profoundly changed in the last 2 years of I wanted to help the world. I wanted to help people. I knew pain and emotion was connected, but like, how can I make a powerful impact? How can I only myself create a positive ripple in the world? And this has really changed the trajectory of my brain and my mind of the capacity of what G.E.M can do because of the amount of people with one client comes in, the amount of people that one client can help at that one session. He or she is helping themselves, everybody above them that did not resolve that emotion, that generational cycle, that roadmap, right? That blueprint that's our DNA, helping herself or themselves, and it's taking it away from their kids. It's taking it off their kids' plates. Their kids, they can see a difference in their kids, or if they haven't had kids yet, they're not going to pass that down in their DNA. So it's going to stop at them. And what a gift to not pass down our crap to our children and stop that negative pool, right? That sludge, right? To be passed down. And so that just in itself creates a huge impact. And when you help each person you help with your homeopathic remedies, with G.E.M, with divine intervention, if you're like, do I just need to do a prayer? Do I just need to do an affirmation for this human today because I feel this, right? We're energy. We feel them. I can be on Zoom and be like, oh, she needs G.E.M. You know, like you just feel this energy. And I do take it on more. I've had to call Joyce on more one occasion, like, wow, I really need to protect myself. How do I do this? Right. Because I do take in, it's a gift. I have learned in the last 4 years to really protect myself and do the things that to help do that. But it's a gift to be able to feel and to be there with that person and help them the best way I can. And that is just how my body and my energy does it. So this ripple is creating me to create this group, the group that is watching this recording land, in the replay and on my masterminds, because my goal, my mission is to empower women that have come through domestic violence. That was my journey 10 years ago. And I want to bridge that gap. I want to help women heal themselves and help stop the generational cycle of domestic violence. So I have one more question for you. Question number 5. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. That's already a question. I had a person that just messaged me about a question. And this, you might have already said this, but just to wrap up, Joyce, is how did you put all of this process together to create the protocol? Like, how did you decipher or decide? And I know you said like you've even like simplified it, or you would have simplified it when you wrote the original book, but like, how did you decide to do the steps that you did? Or have you already really explained that? I don't know.
Well, just to kind of reiterate, because I've kind of gone over that a little bit, is that
Or why are doTERRA essential oils in it? Maybe even like, why did
well,
the protocol come together?
right. What happened is that I had been putting together, prior to putting the essential oils together with, because I actually had created G.E.M therapy before I ever was introduced to the oils and had been using it for a long time. But I was determining just like, what are the emotions. I did what I call discovery, and discovered, first you have to find out where it started from. Then you have to, what lens are you looking through? Are you looking through error of thought, negative emotion, negative words, lies, evil? I work with another group, and evil is in there, and I had this one therapist that went, I don't like that word evil, and when it comes up for somebody, I just don't like that. It's too harsh. Yeah, it's too harsh of a word.
I do say intent for harm. I don't often say evil because like it just hits you a little harder. It does a little bit.
But I want, the reason that it's there is, it's like, if you can have 2 keys and hold them up and they look almost alike, but one of them's got a little bit different edge and it won't open the door.
Mm-hmm.
So evil is evil, whether we want to say it or not. Evil is evil. And so if we really want to eliminate the evil, we have to call it what it is. And so, I just said in that forum, I'm really sorry. It's like, in the homeopathic world, pulsatilla and belladonna both have red faces. They both, are hot, but the belladonna person is glassy eyed and just, they're just kind of there. The pulsatilla person is whiny and crying and clingy and, so it's not going to do the same thing.
True.
And so I had to identify, where was it coming from? Where was it coming from? When did it start? Who's it coming through? What is the factor? And then what do I need to heal that? What is the emotion? What is the emotion that's creating this issue? And then I had to find all the parts to it. And so I had all kinds of different things that I looked at for the parts. And then I got introduced to the essential oils, and I started seeing that, there's an emotional component here. And so that was when I went, oh, I can kind of shift this G.E.M therapy I've been doing over here, which is very detailed. And there's many times that I have to go to that on some things, because this is more for that the average person can understand, and that you can process, and you can have the oils. And I also found, though, that for the majority of things, the essential oils will get to it.
Mhm.
They will get to it and take care of it. I look at my other G.E.M book as kind of like, do I need surgery, or can I just do this? If I got to do surgery, I got to bring in the other book
Yep.
and do some
And
of that work.
yes. And how often can they come in? Maybe.
Yeah.
Do I have to can they just come in like prophylactically just to work on this?
Yeah.
I do G.E.M via Zoom a lot, and I've met amazing people all over the world in the new groups I've been connected with, and I'm so empowered to meet these amazing women and men in these different groups. And so I have done a lot of G.E.M recently, more of recently via Zoom without the essential oils. And to me, I don't know what you think. This is just my personal question. I feel like it goes a little longer. I feel like if you are in person using the essential oils and maybe it's a space, everybody that comes in here is like, oh my gosh, the space is amazing. It's so like open and it feels so calm and everything. But I feel like the connecting the essential oil and actually using it, not just stating the affirmation and using the emotions and pouring that intention in when we're releasing these negative emotions of all this, and pouring this positive spirit in. But when they actually can feel, smell, have that essential oil on their body, I feel like it's a stronger clearing and more of a quicker protocol done. Would
Well,
you
what they're
resonate with
doing when they actually have the oil is that by the smelling of it and by applying it, you are connecting with the physical body. And so you're then surrogating that physical that's there. You can get to the same place if you're working with people and they don't have the oils. And in that, I have them like put their attention over the chakra that they need to, release the energy from.
Mhm.
And if they, you can still get the same results, because I did absolutely amazing work for years before I ever had the oils.
Yeah, and that's what I do. I do that. So I'm glad. I mean, that's just what
Hmm.
I felt energy wise is for them to hold the chakra area. Sometimes I even describe the oil, like what it would smell or taste like, what is in it. Like if it's a blend, like adaptive, I'm like, okay, it has these amazing, other oils if they are even used to any oils, or I'll be like, this is, bergamot. It is like the best smellest, sweetest citrus I love bergamot. Like it's an amazing citrus, you know what I mean? So, and then I just have them hold the chakra, whether it be wherever it is, I have them hold that. But yeah, and we get there, we absolutely clear the thing and I test to affirm and make sure. And then afterwards, this amazing part of the book is you can always send them a blend, right? You can always test and see if they need to continue processing. And then I have that opportunity to send them a personal blend that they test for, or they allow me to test for them. And I can always send that to them. But yeah, so, oh my goodness, this has been so good. We could talk for hours. I love
I
visiting with
know.
you. It's so amazing that we can talk, and I'm so grateful. Obviously, you know that I'm grateful for having met you 4 years ago. But what an awesome opportunity to connect. You were in Alaska. I felt like I had Alaskan weather yesterday. We had tornadoes. I mean, not even Alaskan weather, but just crazy weather. We had snow, rain, sleet, and tornadoes yesterday, and like 90-mile-an-hour winds. I was just like, what in the world is happening in Nebraska? But we survived it. everybody's we're doing good here. But anyway, I wish you many, many holiday blessings. It's been such a treat to have you here and answering my group's amazing questions. I think they came up with a lot of really good questions for you.
Yeah.
And this is like real time, real live. So thank you so
Well,
much, Joyce.
I enjoyed this time, and I wish you all the happiest holidays and the best in the new year.
Awesome. I'm going to stop the recording.